Everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for joining me. Day's finally here, throwing the exhaust on the Aprilia RSV4. If you couldn't already tell from the description, went with the SC Project GP22, so basically a straight pipe, but show you how to put that on. We'll do some weights. We're also gonna delete the exhaust valve as well. Here's the GP22 packaging. We've all seen this on YouTube. I did buy this item used. For those that don't know, these are $2,200 before shipping and taxes and all the other stuff. Not to say that it's not worth it, I couldn't get myself to pay that much for this item, so I bought it used for way under $2,200. I also noticed in a lot of YouTube videos, it's not totally clear that it's literally just a straight pipe. There's absolutely nothing in here. It is a cool shaped pipe, but I mean, there's nothing in there at all. It's just a straight pipe, that's it. So obviously with SC Project, you're gonna get really nice quality, but yeah, you're paying a lot of money for just a straight pipe slip-on. Got the GP22 on the scale with the bracket, the clamp, all the hardware. We can see it's 1 pound, 4 ounces, so very, very, very light. We'll go ahead and weigh the stock exhaust and see what the difference is gonna be. So to remove the stock exhaust, pretty straightforward. It's a number 6 Allen with a number 13 nut on the back. Your exhaust valve cable is a little bit more tricky, so this is gonna be, you're gonna need an open-ended 10 mil. Just loosen the nut here, and then you'll be able to pull off the cable like so. And then you're gonna have another 13 down here at this clamp here. So got the exhaust off. We had to struggle a little bit. We kind of had to wiggle it up and down, side to side, to get it off of that collector there. We use a rubber mallet as well in conjunction with pulling on it, and it finally came out. Be really careful when you're wiggling that exhaust. I would put tape on the swing arm so you don't scratch it. Same goes for your cables. Make sure the cables aren't rubbing against your swing arm. It will scratch. But other than that, pretty straightforward. Just a few bolts and a little bit of struggling as far as removing it after all the clamps and brackets are loose. I wanted to show you guys the stock exhaust. So pretty cool. Obviously we have our valve here, and we could see when the valve's closed, the exhaust takes this pathway here through this small tube, goes through our muffler. When the valve opens, it takes this pathway, and it's pretty much a straight through design in there. So that explains why when that valve is open, the stock exhaust sounds pretty good. It's pretty throaty. And in our case, to make it easier, we removed the passenger peg. I don't think you need to do that, but it does give you a little bit more clearance to wiggle that exhaust off. So now we'll go ahead and weigh the stock exhaust and see how much weight we're gonna lose by going to the GP22. All right, let's throw it on the scale. How much do you think it's gonna weigh?
Probably 15 pounds.
All right, I say 10.
It's gonna be hard to balance though.
Oh yeah, we might have to put it in a box. There we go. 12 pounds, 11 ounces. So we're both wrong. Now we're removing the exhaust valve controller. So the way we're gonna do that is this is a 13 and then this is a number 5 Allen. Once you remove those two fasteners, this whole thing will be loose, and we'll have to feed the cables through the frame out the front. You got a few connectors here as well. So you got this one, and then there's one underneath. So don't forget about this one either. Once you remove all the servo motor fasteners, as well as take out all these plugs here, be really careful not to break any of these. They're kind of a cheap, hard plastic, so they're easy to break. Be careful. The cables, okay, you see these cables here, okay? They're running all the way on the inside of the frame and coming out back to the swing arm. So the way you remove those, there is one zip tie. It's almost impossible for me to show you because it's behind the frame. It's right, if you guys can see that moving, that piece there, that zip tie, you need to cut that. Be really careful you don't cut anything else behind there. I actually had to use a mirror flashlight to cut that zip tie. But once you do that, the cables are loose. Okay guys, so once you get the cable loose, so there's also a keeper back here. It's a little bit tricky, but once you pull it away from that keeper, then the cable will just be loose like so, and you should be able to very carefully feed it through the frame. Be very careful when you're feeding it through the frame because you don't want the cable to whip around and scratch your frame or anything else. So be very, very careful when you do this. Okay, and there we go. Completely taken off. Not that it matters that much, but I thought this was interesting. So on my servo motor, it's got these Allen keys keeping the whole unit together. Well, one of mine, the nut's completely missing. So when I pulled the servo, when I pulled this module off the bike, the Allen key just fell out of there. So as you can see, they're supposed to have a nut on it, and mine didn't even have one. Since the GP22 exhaust doesn't need the exhaust bracket anymore, I went ahead and removed the passenger foot pegs. I'm never planning on taking a passenger, so I went ahead and removed those. We'll get some weights going, but first let's go ahead and weigh the exhaust servo motor. So as you can see, cables are, let me reposition this. Okay, cables are not touching anything, right? They're completely on the scale, and we're at 1 pound 9 ounces. Let's go ahead and add, this is the stock clamp, okay? And then this is the fastener for the stock exhaust bracket. So you can see we're at just shy of 1 pound 14 ounces for those items. Let's go ahead and see how much the passenger foot pegs weigh. Okay, got one side, and these are, that blue tape is just holding the stock fasteners on there so we can get an accurate weight. And 1 pound 15.8, so almost 2 pounds there. So we're losing a couple pounds with the foot pegs, and then a couple pounds here with the servo clamp and then the bracket. Next thing you need to do is remove the number 6 Allens from your rear set, and that's because this bracket is going to go behind that. On these fasteners, there was red Loctite, so make sure that you do the same. Put some type of Vibrotite in there or Loctite. As you guys see here, putting the number 6 Allen keys back, and I'm going to leave it a little bit loose. I'll give you guys the torque spec later, but I'm going to leave it a little bit loose so that way there's a little bit of play in it when we go ahead and hang the exhaust. I went ahead and wiped the exhaust down with alcohol. This has already been colored quite a bit, but still wiped it down anyway. I'll wipe it down again once it's fully installed. So it goes on just like the stock one does. Be very careful you don't hit your swing arm and scratch it. And this is a new clamp. So this clamp is a little bit different than the stock one. This is the one that's provided by SC Project. So make sure that you use that clamp. And you're basically gonna just slide it on. Okay. I'm gonna remove this bolt as well. And there it is, all hung. These number 6 Allens, these are 18.4 foot-pounds, so make sure you torque those. And mine had red Loctite on it, so I did the same. I put some red Vibrotite there. But there it is, all hung. Again, I would suggest, I had to move mine around a little bit, so I would suggest before torquing all this, leave everything loose, get it sitting exactly where you want it, and then go ahead and tighten everything down. It's all installed, so now it's time to install the UpMap with the Gabbro tune. There's a gentleman on YouTube, his name is Alpha Vitaga. I'm gonna put a link to his video in the description. He has a super good video on how to install an UpMap on an RSV4. I could not improve on that video at all, so I hope he doesn't mind that I mentioned his name and refer people to that video, but please go watch that one for help installing the UpMap. Installing the UpMap, of course, will require you to hook the bike up to a charger. These do have lithium batteries in it, so make sure the charger that you're using is good for lithium batteries. I'm using the C-Tech charger, that one there. Very common, a lot of like exotic car owners use C-Techs to charge their batteries. They're very, very good chargers, but make sure you remove the seat, hook the bike up to a charger before you install that UpMap. UpMap is installed, as you see here. It's got race on the dash there. So pretty much getting ready to fire it up and see what it sounds like. First startup of the Aprilia RSV4 with the GP22 SC Project exhaust. go, guys. SC Project GP22 with the Gabbro tune on the 2023 Aprilia RSV4. Of course, this is one of the louder exhausts. Well, it is the loudest exhaust you could put on one of these bikes. However, that Aprilia 1099cc V4, it's the best sounding motorcycle engine that there is. Also, don't forget, look at how much weight we lost. So let me take a look at my notes here real quick. So the SC Project setup, so the SC Project GP22 with the bracket, the fasteners, the clamp, it's 1 pound, 4.3 ounces. The stock exhaust is 12 pounds, 10.9 ounces. The exhaust valve with the accompanying hardware, clamp, and so forth, 1 pound, 13.8 ounces. And the pegs are 1 pound, 15.8 ounces for a total of 16 pounds, 8 ounces. We subtract the SC Project setup and we get 15 pounds, 4 ounces of weight savings. So of course, now with this setup, earplugs are definitely going to be required. For those of us in California who are able to split lanes, or for those in other states who are not supposed to split lanes but do anyway, with this setup, you're probably going to have to shut it down if you see kids in the car next to you or something like that, especially with their window down. Obviously, we don't want to damage anybody's ears. We want to be courteous, but very, very loud exhaust. The weight savings, very notable. These Aprilia RSV4s, I know that Aprilia says that their wet weight is 445 pounds. I read a lot of things online about that not being accurate, and they actually weigh more. I tend to believe that. When I'm moving this RSV4 around, it feels very, very heavy to me. Obviously, once I'm riding it, it feels light as a feather. It handles like it's on rails, but just moving it around the garage and stuff like that, it feels very heavy. The Panigale V2, for example, it's about 440 pounds wet, stock, and I don't remember the V2 feeling that heavy when just moving it around the garage. It may be that the RSV4, it might just be the way the weight's distributed or something like that, but I've had to move around a bunch of other 440 pound motorcycles, and the RSV4 certainly feels heavier. So by going with this exhaust, dropping over 15 pounds, it's a great modification just for that purpose. Today, while filming, received a big box of carbon fiber from Italy for the Aprilia RSV4, so be on the lookout for that video. Also, just got the tail tidy in, got the mirror delete block off plates in, so there'll be a bunch of videos coming up. We'll be weighing all these things to see how much weight we could take off this Aprilia. Also, the owner of the XSR 900 is getting ready to order an exhaust for that bike, so kind of leaning towards SC Project at this point. But if any of you have any other suggestion, we've kind of juggled Kelpie as well. But if there's anything else out there that you think we should look at, please let us know. Probably going to go with V-Cycle nut for the tune. So again, if you have any suggestion for a tune also, let us know. They're always open to suggestions. As always, thank you so much for joining me, you guys. Really appreciate that. Please like and subscribe if you can. See you on the next one.